Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. You start at the class itself with a yawn. Nice, very nice.
I didn't yawn.
Um, just a second. Let me ping that ma'am and ask me to make her a host.
I just unmuted the call correctly, like I yawned. That was my fan sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Fine. So I have sent you this session's PPT already, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. That is for your reference. So what was I saying? I don't know if you remember what all we have done, but I hope you remember.
Yes, ma'am. Good to know that you have high hopes.
What?
Good to know you have high hopes.
I hope, sir. They don't tell like this. We don't have time to revise everything again. I'm planning to finish you before your board exam. Everything. We have like hardly few chapters left. We have the first unit left. We
Ma'am,
have structure.
my tutor at home started first unit. He's in now he's in Plant Kingdom.
Okay, great. Then fine. So I'll be having less. Then we can
Like we'll just
revise.
revise, like we'll do that, but we'll revise it. Like you ask me questions if I don't know that particular part you teach.
Ha, okay, fine. Anyway, that is not more of a theoretic or something
It's
that
all
you
like
need to.
facts. Like first unit is taxon, all classification. Second
Yeah,
unit, and you have this thing Monera protista, and this thing your fungi you have classification. Plantae animalia, nothing is there. Then virus, viroids, lichens, and prions.
yeah. So in that chapter, you don't need to refer anywhere extra. All that you need to do is make sure you're learning the
Yeah,
like
he told
examples.
animal kingdom is the most.
Yeah. So in your textbook, they have given like scientific name of tortoise and all, but we generally ignore it because it is just an example. But that you have to remember. So it is more factual than like understanding part. So all the understanding chapters are almost done. We just have we didn't do
Yeah,
photosynthesis, no?
yeah, ma'am. We have a lot in plants. We didn't do minerals, photosynthesis,
Yeah.
transport.
Yeah. So in that again you have photosynthesis which will take some time to understand. The remaining mineral, nutrition, plant growth, all these things are more factual and nothing is there to understand. It's only for remembering.
Hmm.
So we need to know what all other things we need to cover so that you can practice by remembering. So those things also will get over fast.
Hmm.
Again, this chapter also will get over fast. Next also will get over fast. So we'll finish this and then
How many
after this,
sections are there, ma'am, in this chapter?
in this chapter, around 4 or 5 are there, I suppose. Yes. There are 6 actually.
How?
And they are not very like humongous, very huge, except for the brain part. So in this chapter, we'll be learning about the brain structure. That would take a little time, but otherwise, the remaining things are very easy. It's about the polar, it's about all the neural diseases, I mean, disorders. So nothing much is there in this chapter. Okay. So it's a very easy chapter, but from this chapter, I'll tell you where generally they ask you questions from. There is a part called sense organs. Okay. Now, in your textbook, that sense organ part is like not very elaborate, but when it comes to your examination, they will definitely ask you a lot of questions from that area. That is ear, nose, and eyes.
Hmm.
Okay. So that will be towards the end. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that will be towards the end of the chapter. That is one area where you can expect question. Another area is brain and its function. Okay. I
Yeah.
will explain
Yeah.
to you the structure of the brain entirely,
Hmm.
but for exam purpose, if you it's your NCRT, whatever is given, okay, that function alone, you need to make sure that you're learning it and keeping it in your mind. Okay. So this is the introduction for this particular session. So the first session that we are going to do today would be about neurons and types of neurons and what is a function of neuron.
Hmm.
Okay.
This class.
Yeah, it's a very simple simple session. So if there is time, we will also move to the next one. Okay. Wait one second. Where was it? Okay. So let's start with this. Oh, this session was created by me. I'm very proud whenever I show you a session that I created. Okay. Okay,
Art
cool.
of multitasking.
Yeah. So basically, we do so many things at the same time,
Hmm.
right? Especially like after those online classes started, you were like, I mean, the multitasking level has gone to some other way. You
Yeah,
attend the
talking
class.
on phone,
Yes,
attending, gaming, attending, watching TV,
exactly.
attending,
Exactly.
eating lunch,
Not
attending, sleeping, attending.
exactly. Not listening to the class, but doing everything else. So yeah, I
Laptop will be
multi.
at home. Laptop will be at home. I'll be outside.
Yes, exactly. That's what. That's it. So all these things, like we do so many things, at a like different levels. So the whole point is not just our brain, but the entire nervous system is involved in this process,
Hmm.
which helps us to perform different functions together, all together. Okay.
Hmm.
So now the another thing that you need to understand is where not only the nervous system helps you in coordinating and multitasking, but there is also this chemical system that helps you.
Hmm.
Okay. So that is why you have the last two chapters of human physiology. One is neural control and coordination, and another is chemical control and coordination.
Neural control, chemical control.
Exactly. So in neural control, we'll talk about how nervous system helps you in this entire process, how it regulates your body mechanism and everything. And in chemical control, we will learn about the influence of hormones.
Hmm.
Okay. So that will be the next chapter. Okay. So now in this chapter, when we talk about the neural system as such. Okay. So one more thing. Earlier name was nervous system, but currently it is called as neural system.
Hmm.
Okay, so even in NCRT also they follow neural system. So that's why you will see only neural system everywhere and not nervous system. Okay, yeah. So the major function of your neural system is coordination and integration.
Hmm.
Okay, so like it's basically like you have a flock of sheep.
Hmm.
Okay, and like all the sheeps are in one direction. If you don't have a shepherd, is it possible to gather all the sheep properly and coordinate them and make them walk?
Mhm.
Not possible. No, same way our body has a lot of organs, lot of functions. If there is no a coordinating system which helps in coordinating with one organ and mixing up them together and integrating them,
Hmm.
then it wouldn't be possible to. So like right now I want to walk on the right side, but my leg is moving towards the left side. It can't work like that, right? So the nervous system or the neural system basically helps in this process of coordination and integration.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, like every system that we studied till now, like say for example, we studied excretory system, correct?
Hmm.
So the major organ involved in excretory system was the kidneys.
Hmm.
Yes. So the
Hmm.
kidney had, what was the functional unit of kidney?
Villi.
Villaya. Kidney.
Oh, what is that called?
What is it called? Tell me. You forgot that itself, huh?
What is it called, ma'am? Some name is there, no?
Yes, what is that name is what I'm asking you.
It's coming. It's at the tip of my tongue, but it's not coming out.
It starts with N.
No, that's
What is
what.
it? What
No,
is it?
it's not coming only.
And ends with N also.
No, ma'am. Like, it's there, but it's not coming out.
At least tell me how does it look?
It's called N something.
And what?
Well, how many letters it is?
There, what are you playing hangman?
You tell, ma'am. I'll tell correctly. Ma'am, you just
I'll
tell
tell
how many
you the
letters. I'll
I'll
tell
tell you the
correctly.
answer itself. It's
Ma'am, no,
nephron.
don't tell. I'll only tell.
I told.
Ma'am, I'll only tell.
Okay, tell.
Nephron.
I told already.
No, you don't. Just
Do you remember the structure of nephron?
yes, ma'am. Renal cortex, renal corpula, renal.
That that
No.
is the structure of kidney, not the nephron.
Oh, nephron structure. Henle's loop, above the loop, below the loop. I remember, ma'am. I remember properly. Henle's loop, Bowman capsule, PCT, VCT.
Oh, amazing. Great. I'm happy you remember. Okay, anyway. I don't know whether you saw and told or you really.
My video is on. I'm legit showing thumbs up.
Oh yeah, correct. Wait, I can't see you. Ah, now I can see you. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. So fine. Cool. I trust you. So every system for that matter has a functional unit. Okay. So like nephron is for kidney, alveoli is for your
Lungs.
respiratory system. Yes.
Lungs. Hmm.
Yes. That the respiratory system is basically alveoli.
Hmm.
Okay, which is present in the lungs. Correct. Same way, when it comes to the neural system, it is the neurons.
Neurons.
These are specialized cells. Okay. Unlike other cells in our body, neurons cannot be regenerated.
Hmm.
That is why anyone who goes into a brain injury or something, those cells can never be regenerated.
Hmm.
Okay. So neurons are something that can never be regenerated. Okay. Now, when you talk about the neuron as such, its structure is what we are going to first see. And then we will go into the classification of neuron. Okay.
Hmm.
So here you go. This is the image. Can you see the
Oh, I
image?
know. In 10th grade, I learned dendrites, axon, cell body,
Ah, correct.
synaptic knobs.
Exactly. Okay. So this particular portion here, okay, this star-like portion here, that's called as the cell body, also known as cyton.
Cyton. And then those root things are dendrites.
Exactly. And
And
this
the long
particular
filament is
cord-like structure is called axon.
axon.
Okay. And this axon is going to come and end at the terminal. And this portion is called as axon terminal.
Terminal or synapse.
No, 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 that is not synapse. That's different. Don't confuse yourself. Synapse is something else. Okay. So axon is going to end at the terminal. The bulb-like structure here at the end, no. This bulb-like structure is called as synaptic knob.
Yeah, I know.
Not synapse, synaptic
knob. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the thing is, can you see this blue color region around the axon? That blue color region, this particular thing.
Sheath.
Yes, it's called myelin sheath.
Oh, myelin sheath.
What is it called?
Myelin sheath.
Just like your copper wires, you know, the wires that you use at home, they are covered by this plastic or the what do you call the rubber material? No. Why is it? Why can't you have copper wires open?
You will get shock, no?
Exactly. The same reason is why your myelin sheath is also covered with, I mean, your axon is also covered with myelin sheath. Axon is something that is actually conducting electric current. Okay. So there are the leakage of it can cause shock. That's the reason why this myelin sheath is covering it. It's going to protect.
What if it leaks, ma'am? What will happen to us?
Nothing will happen to us. We will be getting a vibration and a shock, and that is not good for our body. See, basically, it's flow of ions. Okay. So the ions flow will also be interrupted, and that would lead to like if your impulses don't work faster, your response, you understanding the stimulus, everything will slow down. So your entire body will slow down in working.
So if I get shock, will I know I got shock?
No, no, you won't know. It's not like shock. It's not like literal shock. Like the one you get while you're touching this. It's not like that kind of a shock.
Funny bone
but
shock.
You will feel some kind of a vibration that goes upon. Yeah. Okay. Now, and if you see one more thing, can you see these myelin sheath? Okay, if this is the axon, it is not continuous. It's like this in block
In
shape.
between gap is there.
Yes, that gap is called as node of Ranvier. What is it called?
Node of Ranvier.
Yes, correct. So this is the structure of your neuron. Okay. Now we will go a little more deeper into what all are there inside your cell body. Okay. So normally we learned cell chapter, right? What are the different organelles we learned in the cell chapter?
Ribosome, lysosome, nucleus, nuclear membrane, nucleolus, Golgi body, mitochondria.
We learned about endoplasmic reticulum and everything, right?
So smooth endoplasmic reticulum, rough endoplasmic reticulum.
Correct. Yes. But in the case of your neuron, there are certain organelles which are modified inside it. Okay. So the cell body is where all the organelles are present. Cyton is going to have all the, yes, all the organelles. Okay. So there is something called as Nissel's granule that is present. Okay, this Nissel's granule is basically nothing but your ribosomes.
Oh.
Okay, they are present in small granule shape.
Synthesis
That's why
of
it's called
proteins.
as sorry.
Synthesis of proteins.
Yes, it synthesizes protein. It does the function of your rough endoplasmic reticulum, and that's why it's called Nissel's granule. So you might not find endoplasmic reticulum and ribosome directly, but you might find it in the shape of Nissel's granule. The remaining things are there. Nucleus is there, cytoplasm is there, all those things are there. But this is a modification inside the cell body. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, your phone is about to die.
No, my phone is not about to die. 70% is there. It will go on. Yeah. Okay. Now, then the fibers that come out of the cyton is called as a dendrites, which you already know. Is this clear? Till here is clear? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we will start with the next part, which is the axon. Okay. As I said, the axon is going to end in something called as a synaptic knob. Okay. And this synaptic knob is going to have something called as neurotransmitters. Okay. So what these neurotransmitters are, I'll give you a heads up, but we'll look into it in a little more detailed manner later on. Okay. So basically, you know this relay game, right? So you take a, whatever you call, what is that thing called? Baton? Yeah. You take the baton. Yeah, you pass it on from one person to another person, correct?
That's what axon does. It transfers that impulse from one neuron to another neuron.
Yeah, but again, what type of impulse? That also varies.
Chemical.
No.
It converts the electrical impulse through the neuron into chemical. When it goes to the other neuron, it receives it as electrical.
Not exactly. So what happens is that this neuron, okay, whatever you know is like 10% of the whole concept. So you know the basic, but it is not exactly like that. Okay. That because in 10th standard they would have taught you only this level. But when you learning about neuron now, you should know that it doesn't work that way exactly. Okay. So we'll anyway see it in detail. Okay. I'm glad you remember. Anyway. So this is. No, I'm very glad that you actually remember. Yeah. So this synaptic knob will consist of neurotransmitters. The most common neurotransmitters are acetyl-CoA. Okay. Remember that. Yes. Please remember this term. Why I'm telling you is because this question has been asked. Okay.
Which is the most common neurotransmitter.
Yes, acetyl-CoA. Okay. Now, acetylcholine is basically a neurotransmitter, as the term suggests. What these neurotransmitters will do, you know, once the impulse, that is the electrical impulse, will reach the synaptic knob, okay, they will release these neurotransmitter into a gap called as synapse. You told me in the beginning synapse, no?
Wait, what, ma'am? What? Tell again.
Okay. So, I'll tell you. 1 second. Undo.
You can put clear. Put clear. Everything.
Where is this clear? I can't see clear. Oh, yeah.
Undo, redo, clear.
Done. Yeah. Okay. So basically how it is present is, this is one neuron. Okay. And this is another neuron. This will be the dendrites of one neuron. This is the dendrites of other neuron.
That will be synapse of first neuron.
Not synapse. Synaptic knob. Okay. So what will happen is, this synaptic knob and this dendrites, okay, there will be a gap between both of them. This gap is only called as synapse or synaptic junction. Okay, the gap between two neurons.
It's called
synapse. Yes, it's called as synapse. So ideally what happens is, this synapse is the area where they come in, like the neurotransmitter is released. Okay. And once it is released, what is going to happen is, your electrical impulse will be converted to chemical impulse. And that will be sensed by the second neuron's dendrite.
And again, that will be converted to electrical, go through it.
Exactly. So we will be anyway learning about electrical propagation. So that time I'll tell you this in detail. But this is what neurotransmitters are meant to do. Okay. And where these neurotransmitters are present, they are present inside the synaptic knob. And inside the synaptic knob, there will be small vessels, round vessels. They are called as synaptic vesicles. What are they called?
Synaptic vesicles.
Yes. Inside that synaptic vesicle is where neurotransmitter is present.
Inside the synaptic knob, there will be synaptic vesicle.
Inside that synaptic vesicle, you will have neurotransmitters.
Okay.
Okay. Is that clear? So
Yes.
see here in this image. Yeah. Can you see?
Inside synaptic knob, we have synaptic vesicle.
Inside that you have neurotransmitters. Okay. So this is about the neurotransmitter and all those things. Yeah. So acts based on whether this myelin sheath is present or not, there are two types of axon. One is myelinated, another is non-myelinated or unmyelinated. Okay. Then, okay. So there are like different types of cells that are involved other than your neuron. Okay. There are also a type of cells called as glial cells.
Glial cell.
Yes. So when we talk about cells that are associated with your neural system, the major one is neuron. Apart from that, there are cells called glial cells, G-L-I-A-L, glial cells. Okay. Under this glial cells, you have several types. Okay. But what is the function of glial cell? I'll tell you in general. So neuron will not regenerate, correct? So something has to protect these neurons. Yes or no? So the protection of these neurons is done by these cells called glial cells.
Protection of neurons is done by?
The glial cells. Okay. One type of glial cell is called Schwann cells. Okay. And this Schwann cell is present in the myelin sheath, and that is what is generating the myelin sheath.
Wait, ma'am. What? One Schwann cell is a type of glial cell.
Exactly. And that is the one which is generating your myelin sheath. Okay. Is this clear? Okay. So which cell is responsible for the generation of myelin sheath? Means your answer should be Schwann cells. Okay. And Schwann cells are a type of glial cells. Okay. That is not under your portion. There are also astrocytes and all those cells, but oligodendrocytes, you might hear these kind of terms somewhere, but all these are glial cells. Okay. And their major
the gaps between adjacent myelin sheath is nodes of this thing.
Sorry?
The gaps between two adjacent myelin sheaths are called nodes of Ranvier.
Yes, that I already told you, but that is not what I'm discussing right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Whose phone is that? Yours?
Mine. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Okay. So is this clear till now? So you can have neuron with myelin sheath or without myelin sheath. So based on that, you have myelinated and unmyelinated. Who generates myelin sheath? Which cells?
Ma'am, who generates myelin? Schwann cells.
Okay.
A type of glial cells.
Okay, very good. Okay. Yeah. So again, as I said, myelin sheath is going to protect the the impulse from leaking. So if there is no myelin sheath, the rate at which the impulse is propagated is very slow. Okay. And always remember, this node of Ranvier is there, no? Okay. So from one node of Ranvier to another node of Ranvier, the impulse always jumps. Okay. So basically, the impulse propagation is such a way that from one node to another node, it will keep on jumping. That is the significance of node of Ranvier. So when we learn about electrical propagation, you will understand why that happens. Okay. But for now, you need to understand that myelin sheath will make sure that the velocity at which the electrical impulse is propagated is maintained, or it's increasing. Okay. Now, so definitely those that does not have the myelin sheath, the electrical impulse will be slowly transmitted. Okay. So this is a difference between myelinated and unmyelinated nerve fiber. Is this clear?
Unmyelinated is there is Schwann cell, but no myelin sheath.
Yes, correct. It does not produce myelin sheath. That's right. But in the case of myelinated, it has Schwann cells, and they produce
Nodes
the
of
myelin
Ranvier,
sheath.
and between the nodes, it jumps.
They jumps, and which has where is the velocity of the propagation faster?
Myelinated.
Very good. Okay. Now we come to types of neuron based on how this axon and how this dendrite, or how many axons and dendrites are present. Okay. So you can classify them as bipolar, unipolar, and multipolar.
Hmm.
The structure that you have been studying till now is multipolar.
Hmm.
Okay. So when I say multipolar, means there will be one axon coming out of the cell body and many dendrites, like two or more
Coming out
dendrites.
of the cell body and many.
Dendrites.
So that
Okay.
is unipolar.
That is multipolar.
So one axon and many dendrites.
Correct. Yes. Now we will see how unipolar and bipolar looks like. Okay. So first we'll start with unipolar. Okay. Now when you look at the image, it's a bit confusing. You might feel like everything looks the same, but there is actually a minute difference.
What is
Can
that?
you?
Where is the neuron there?
Okay, wait. This is the neuron. This is the image. Okay. I'll explain. Can you see this blob-like structure? That is your cell body. Okay.
Right on.
So in this case, what is happening is you have a cell body. From that cell body, there is one axon starting and it's just splitting into two.
Cell
Where
body is the cyton.
Yes, from the cyton, that is your cell body, there is one line starting and it's splitting into two. One end is ending at the dendrites. Okay. And another end is going to the terminal. Synaptic terminal.
So the dendrites are not attached to the axon directly.
Yes, the dendrites are not attached to the axon, not the axon, cell body directly.
Axon is this cyton, sorry.
Cyton, yes, exactly. So there is only one single line, and one end is the dendrites and another end is this one, and this line is starting from your cyton. Okay, is this clear? This is unipolar condition.
Okay.
Okay, so unipolar condition is nothing but from the cyton, it is going to branch, and one end will be axon and another end will be the dendrites. Okay, now in the case of your bipolar, okay, so where can you find, this also you need to remember, this example is important. Where can you find unipolar? You can find unipolar in the embryonic stage. Okay, like once you grow up, you can't find in our body, majority of our cells are multipolar and not unipolar. Okay.
So unipolar is asked to define means what should I tell?
Unipolar, when they're asking you to define, you just need to use the same definition given here. It's a single branch which leaves the cell body and splits.
Single branch in the cell body splits into dendrites on one end, synapse on other end.
Yes, not synapse, synaptic knob.
Synaptic knob.
Yes. Okay. Is this clear till now? Now we'll go to bipolar. So in the case of bipolar, what is going to happen is that the cell body will be there. One side will be the dendrites and another side will be the axon. Like what is going to happen here is that unlike your previous case, in the previous case, from the cell body, it was splitting. Yes or no?
Here the cell body will be in between.
Yes, the cell body will be in between. And on the top, you will have the dendrites, and the bottom part, axon and the synaptic knob.
And the previous one was found in embryonic stage. This is found in retina of eye.
Retina of our eye, yes. Okay, so we'll learn about bipolar neurons. So when we learn about, when we learn about the structure of eye, we will be learning about how this bipolar neuron is present. Okay, so last is multipolar neuron. When you talk about multipolar neuron, it's the same structure that we have been studying. You have from the cell body, several dendrites will arise and one single axon. And it's found in our brain.
From the cell body?
If you see here, can you see the cell body? And from the cell body, there are so many dendrites.
That is a normal neuron, basically.
The normal neuron is your multipolar neuron.
It's a normal neuron, it is.
Yes, yes. So where can you find unipolar neuron?
Embryonic stage.
And how does it look?
It is like from the cell body, it splits into two, and one side will be dendrite, one side will be synaptic knobs.
Yes, very good. And what about bipolar?
Bipolar is like it's like the cell body is present in between the dendrites and axon. It doesn't split at all, and then it's found in retina of eye.
Okay, very good. Now we'll go to the functions of these different types. Okay. Like neurons can be either sensory or they can be motor or they can be like relay neurons. Okay, so when I say sensory, they are going to sense the stimulus. Okay, so like say for example, if you're touching a hot object, you're knowing you're touching a hot object. That is the hotness is the stimulus. Okay, and your sensory receptors are going to sense that stimulus. Now you're going to remove your hand back once you touch a hot object, right? That removing hand back is a response that you're giving to a stimulus. Okay, and that response is given by the motor neuron. Okay, so basically, yeah, so to put it in simple terms, sensory neuron is going to carry information to the brain and motor neuron is going to carry the information from the brain to the target organ.
Sensory neuron carries to the brain.
Yes.
Motor neuron from the brain to the target organ.
Yes. So whatever is the stimulus that is being taken by the sensory and whatever reaction you have to give back, that is given by the motor neuron. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and in between these motor neuron and the sensory neuron, there is a neuron which transmits information, and that neuron is called as relay neuron.
Between the
motor and the sensory, like it's like a connecting neuron. It connects the sensory, it takes the information from sensory, gives it to the motor. That connection is done by one sort of neuron, and that is called as a relay neuron. Also known as interneuron.
So sensory is from stimulus to brain.
Correct.
Motor is what will help us react from brain to stimulus or organ, target organ.
Yes.
Multipolar, the last one is relays.
Don't see the screen. I have not yet gone to this. I'm giving you the general idea of what is sensory, what is motor. Relay neuron will act between the sensory and the motor. That is, it will take the information from the sensory and give it to motor and say, hey, go give this reaction. That's what it is. It is a connector between both of them. That's the reason why it is called as interneuron or relay neuron.
Okay.
Just like your relay game, I told you, it will take information from one and give it to another. That's it. Nothing else it will do. Okay. So often if you see, like normally unipolar neurons are sensory in nature. Okay. Bipolar are all often interneurons. That is, they take information from one and give it to another. And your multipolar neurons are the motor neurons, which will take the information from the brain to other parts of the body.
Bipolar is unipolar is sensory, multipolar is motor.
Yes, this is the general function of them. Okay, so I hope you understood what are the types of neurons. I mean, based on the function, how you can classify them. You can classify them as sensory, motor, and interneurons or relay neurons. Okay. Now we come to the concept of synapse. You've been telling no synapse since the beginning. Okay, so here, this is what I was telling you. So the neuron that is before the synapse is called as presynaptic neuron.
And postsynaptic neuron.
Yes, postsynaptic neuron. So where this particular region, can you see this region? Where this synaptic knob and this dendrites are coming in contact with each other, that space or that gap is called as the synapse. Okay. So when we talk about synapse, as I said, it's a region where both the ends, I mean, the beginning of the postsynaptic and the ending of presynaptic come in contact with each other.
The beginning of postsynaptic and the ending of presynaptic come together is called synaptic.
Synapse, yes. How they do, what they do there, what are the activities, we'll see later on. Okay. Okay, what is the answer for this? The gap between two adjacent myelin sheath is called?
Nodes of Ranvier.
Very good. Now we come to evolution of the neural system. So this is important. Why it is important is because in your textbook, they have given this examples. Okay. So there are high chances they will ask you. Okay. So don't skip this part just because it is evolution. No one will ask. It is there. The front page of your this chapter, the first page or first, second page, you can find this information.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So basically in the animal kingdom, like starting for the first phylum, that is sponges or porifera, there is no neural system in them. Then we come to Hydra. When we talk about Hydra, yes, Hydra has lots of nerves. Okay. And these nerves are all interconnected like a network. They just have nerves. They don't have any brain or anything, just nerves. Okay. And that is why we call this as nerve net. Okay. That is in the case of Hydra.
There is no neural system. Hydra just nerve net, no brain or such.
Yes. Hydra belongs to which phylum?
Huh?
Hydra belongs to which phylum?
I know it belongs to Plantae kingdom.
Hydra belongs to Plantae.
Not phylum, ma'am.
Kingdom is kingdom Animalia. These are animals.
Oh, Hydra, yes, Animalia.
Which plant has nervous system?
Sorry. Hydra. Oh, sorry. It belongs to that. Which phylum I know. I know class. I don't know phylum.
Which class?
What is that called? What is that called? Hydro something only it is.
Oh, how come you don't know the phylum? That is what is taught.
Oh, is it that? It starts with C. It starts
after
with C.
After porifera, yes. What is it?
Cnidaria.
Cnidaria or Coelenterata.
Coelenterata.
Now we come to Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, example, Planaria. Planaria has a brain.
Planaria belongs to Platyhelminthes, correctly told. See.
Very nice. They have something called as nerve cord and a brain. Now here the brain is not like our brain. It's a very rudimentary brain, like very highly, like, not so developed brain. Okay. The initial stages of brain. So that you can find in Platyhelminthes. Then we come to earthworm. Earthworm also has something called as ganglia. So ganglia is a group of nerves.
Oh yeah, I know this.
Yes. Okay.
That chapter, earthworm.
Yes. And they have something called as nerve cord and they have ventral nerve cord. Remember what they have?
Ventral nerve cord.
Why I am saying this is because they can ask you a question like this. Which of the following statements are incorrect? So in that, they can ask you dorsal nerve cord.
Wrong.
That is wrong. Exactly. So you should be able to tell that. That's why I'm saying remember it. Okay. Hey, whatever is explained in this PPT, everything is based out of your textbook only. So make sure that you're not skipping it. Okay. You might think it is still not not important, but definitely if it is there in the textbook, it's very important. Okay. Now, then we come to insects, that is arthropoda. In the case of arthropoda also, they have ganglia and brain. Okay. So this is the evolution of neural system. So slowly, if you see, starting with sponges, which is the least developed animal, it does not have any neural system. To insects, if you see, it slowly develops brain and everything. And finally, when you come to the vertebrates, we have proper brain, developed brain. Okay. Now we come to the human neural system and its classification. Okay. So when you talk about human neural system, you can classify it into two parts. One is the central nervous system. Another is
peripheral.
Yes. When you talk about the central nervous system, it comprises of your brain and the spinal cord.
Peripheral is only the neurons.
Only the nerves. Not neurons. There's a difference. Neuron is a cell. Okay. Many neurons put together will form your nerve fiber. Okay. Now, how does your neural system works? This is how your neural system works. Okay. So your body will have different sensory organs. Correct? Each sensory organ, the function of these sensory organs is to sense the stimulus. Once the stimulus is sensed, the PNS, that is your peripheral nervous system, the nerves, they are going to carry this and send it to the brain or the spinal cord. Brain or the spinal cord is a major area where all the decisions are being taken.
Oh, that arc is there, no? Neural arc.
Neural arc. You mean reflex arc?
Reflex arc.
That is reflex actions arc. Yeah, that is the case where your spinal cord will take the decision.
Yeah.
And yeah, under emergency situation, always your spinal cord takes a decision, but always who is a master? It's your brain.
Brain is the
Okay.
king. Spinal cord is the.
Minister or something like that, you can say.
I was going to say
Yeah.
kingmaker.
Kingmaker. No, avlo scene kadiyadu. But still. Anyway, so it's going to process the stimulus. Once it processes stimulus, it will know what kind of a response it has to give. So that response is again taken by your nerves to the different body parts. Okay. This is how your neural system works. Now, this is something very basic. Okay. So we will go to the central nervous system in the next session. We'll start with peripheral nervous system in this session. Okay. Okay. So basically, your peripheral nervous system acts like these connectors, like pipes.
Pipes.
Okay. Yeah, that's their function. Like carrying information from brain to other parts of the body. That's the function of this particular thing. Okay. So you can classify the nerves based on where they are originating from, and you can classify them based on their function. Okay. So these nerves can either start from your brain or it can either start from your spinal cord.
These nerves can either start from brain or spinal cord.
Yes. If they start from your brain, it's called cranial nerve.
Oh,
And
they
if
start
they
from spinal cord, it's called spinal nerve.
Exactly. So based on the origin, we can classify the nerves as cranial nerve and spinal nerve.
24 cranial nerves, no?
No, 12 pairs of cranial nerves. 24 cranial nerves, correct. 12 pairs are there. Okay. See, in many books, you might see the name of all the spinal, all the cranial nerves. Okay. So there is actually a mnemonic to remember it. It's called Uta Fagwa.
Uta means food in Kannada.
Uta, yeah. Okay. So this is a very vague one, which everyone follows. I have my own way of telling it also. So it's ta fag wa. Okay. So basically, O stands for so L P C. Okay. So so you have olfactory nerve. Then there is optic nerve. There is oculomotor nerve, trigeminal nerve, trochlear nerve.
All this I should remember. Oh.
Yes, that's why. So
I
this
remember
are
learning this in 11th only.
yeah. So you don't need to remember it because they don't. It's not mentioned in your textbook, but in previous year question papers, based on that, there's always question asked on the vagus nerve.
Ma'am,
Okay.
the problem is wherever I take questions to practice, no.
Ah.
The problem is I'm not getting only like questions because everything is previous year questions, and previously you need to study 30% extra.
That is why I'm saying that it's okay. If you're getting some new questions when you're practicing, learn them. No harm. There's nothing going to go wrong in it. Just learn the right answer there. And later on, when you practice other papers, you might see the same question repeating also. Okay, this will happen only if you're practicing 100 questions. Okay, you practice 10th question and you will be like, ma'am, it's not repeating again in the next set of 10 questions. Means it will not work out like that. Okay, that also I'm giving you a warning. Anyway, okay, coming back to this. So out of this 12, this 10th one is normally asked in exams. So that alone I will discuss. The remaining, it's okay. No need. If whenever you have time, you can just go through them, but it's not important. Okay. So as I said, cranial nerve arises from where?
Cranial nerve.
Arises from where?
Oh, brain, skull.
Yes. Not skull, your brain. Skull is a bone. How can nerves arise from bone?
Brain.
Brain. Okay. So there are 12 pairs of cranial nerve. Out of that, the 10th one is called as a vagabond nerve. What is it called?
Vagabond. Vagus.
Oh yeah, it's basically why is it called that way? What is a vagabond? A person who keeps roaming everywhere, right? Yes. So this particular nerve is the longest nerve in your body. It starts from your brain. It goes to your heart, lung, liver, kidney, up to your small intestine. So whatever is marked in green here is basically your vagus nerve.
It's the longest nerve in the body. They'll ask which is the longest nerve in the body.
Exactly. It is a 10th cranial nerve. Remember that. So what do you need to remember? It's a 10th cranial nerve.
Hmm.
Okay. These cranial nerves are all order, like this Uta Fagva, I told you, no. It is in the order only. So vagus nerve is the 10th nerve and it is the longest nerve.
Hmm.
Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the only question they have asked till now about cranial nerve. That's why I'm repeating it again and again. Okay. Now we come to spinal nerve. I think I have given you an orientation about spinal nerve already when we learned thoracic nerve, cervical nerve, lumbar. You remember?
Somewhat. Coccyx.
Okay. So
It is
basically,
the same as vertebral column. Cervical, thoracic,
yes,
lumbar.
correct. Exactly. Exactly. So you remember we learned that there were 7th cervical vertebrae,
This is the
12
vertebral
thoracic.
column which we have learned in locomotion and movement.
Correct. Yes. Coccyx is like 4 but fused.
Fused.
Sacrum is 5 but fused. Remember? So what happens is that between these vertebrates, if you remember, I told you that vertebrates are like disc-shaped structures like this. Okay, they're stacked upon one another.
Yeah.
Okay. So there will be this gap between these discs from where the nerves will arise like this. Okay. This is how the nerves will come. So the gap between this disc is from where the nerves will arise. Okay. Now, based on where that nerve is arising from, they are classified as cervical nerves, thoracic nerves, lumbar nerves, sacral nerves, and coccygeal nerves. Okay. All you need to know is how many pairs are there in each nerves. That's it. Totally 31 is the total spinal nerves.
31.
31, yes. Okay. So unlike your cranial nerves, spinal nerves are named based on where they originate from. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So we can classify the nerves based on their site of origin as cranial and what else?
Cranial and spinal.
Okay, very good. Now we will start with function. I think this should be the last one. Okay. This is efferent and efferent nerves. Okay. The term itself says efferent is something coming inside, efferent is something going outside.
Any efferent and efferent arteriole.
Same. That is arteriole, but here it is, we are talking about nerves. Okay. Anything that brings in the information to the brain is called as efferent.
Efferent, and efferent is basically efferent is the sensory neuron. Efferent is the example in neuron, if you say.
No, correct. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm happy you're telling that. Efferent is the sensory neuron.
And efferent is motor.
Exactly. Got it. You got the point. Great. I'm happy. Okay. So with that, we are done with this particular portion. But we have few more slides left out, I think. Yes, yes. Classification of PNS is there. Okay. We will quickly finish this also. Okay. So now we come to the peripheral neuron. So till now, whatever we learned was a classification of nerves. Okay. And that comes under peripheral neural system. But you can also classify peripheral neural system further. Okay. Say you watch some horror movie, right? So sometimes if you are a person who gets scared, okay, generally some scenes and all will be there where your heart will tend to beat very fast. Correct. But is it like if your heart starts beating fast, does it continue like that for a long time? Or will it come back to its normal?
Come back to its normal, but after that part is over.
After some time, yes. But it does come back to normal, right?
Yeah.
How does this happen? How does your body know when to increase the heartbeat and when to decrease the heartbeat? How it is knowing that when to, like, pump you up and when to pull you down? How does it know?
That I have to ask my heart.
You have to ask your heart? No, you can ask your neural system. Okay. So that is basically because of your peripheral neural system. Okay. So how I will tell you. So your peripheral neural system can be classified into two types. One is autonomic and another is somatic. Okay. Autonomic means what? What do you mean by autonomous? Autonomous or automatic. What do you mean by that?
Automatically it happens. We don't need to do anything.
Exactly. They work on their own. Okay. So if you talk about this autonomic neural system, is what comes into play whenever your heart is rising up or your, like, see, for example, you see some good food. Sometimes your saliva production will increase.
Yeah,
so,
we
okay.
know that. Aromatic food.
Yeah, so sometimes then after that, after some time your mouth will become fine, but suddenly saliva increasing is, I mean, saliva production is increasing. How does your body increase and decrease and keep doing all these things? It's because of your autonomic neural system.
Mm.
Okay, so you can classify your autonomic neural system as sympathetic, parasympathetic.
Wait, what? Under PNS, there is automatic, somatic.
Automatic illa autonomic.
Autonomic and somatic. Under
Ah,
autonomic, there is sympathetic, parasympathetic.
exactly. So they are like
Is
yin
when-
and yang. They work opposite to each other.
Mm.
So if your sympathetic nervous system is increasing your heartbeat, your
Uh,
parasympathetic will,
decrease our heartbeat.
yes, and bring it to the normal level.
Mm.
Okay, that is why when you're suddenly, like, say, for example, you know you have done something wrong and you get caught at home and you will have this fear, oh God, what is going to happen? And I don't know if you have it, but normally
Yeah.
people have it. Okay, so that time when the heart beats fast, and then after some time it stops beating, that's because of your sympathetic and parasympathetic.
Mm.
Okay, same is with the case of your this one. So what will happen is whenever you see a good food, your mouth salivates, it's because of your parasympathetic.
Mm.
So what will sympathetic do? It will stop it.
Oh, so anything, if parasympathetic increases it, sympathetic stops it. If
Yes, if
sympathetic
sympathetic
increases it,
increases, parasympathetic stops it.
mm.
Okay, remember one thing, like always, like certain functions are fixed. Like for example,
Heartbeat
heartbeat.
by sympathetic
Yes,
increased.
yes, sympathetic will always increase your heartbeat. Parasympathetic will always decrease your heartbeat. But the only thing you need to remember is they are antagonistic in nature. That is, they work opposite to each other.
Mm.
Okay, whoever is increasing, the other person will definitely decrease it.
Mm.
Okay, now we come to somatic. So when you talk about somatic neural system, it will basically consist of all the nerves, okay, which are supplied to your all the nervous systems, all your skeletal system, and it's basically for the body movement.
Mm.
Okay, and this is coming under peripheral nervous system. Okay,
What,
so altogether, this
somatic
is
is for
the,
body movement, it will come under peripheral nervous system.
yes, yeah, or the normal nerves we talk about. No,
Mm.
those nerves
Ma'am,
come under.
peripheral consists of what all, ma'am? Like peripheral,
This is the summary of it.
like brain and spinal cord, like that, what all it consists of?
So brain and spinal cord is in central nerve system. Peripheral consists of nerves.
We did both, no, today, central and spine, peripheral.
We didn't go into the detail of CNS.
Yeah, we did overlap, like just over this thing.
Yes. So peripheral nervous system is the only thing we did today. And that is something we have finished with. Okay. So what does peripheral nervous system consist means? Nerves. So now some of these nerves can either increase or decrease on their own, and that is coming under autonomic neural system. Some of these nerves are just supplied to the other parts of your body, helps in its movement, that comes under somatic neural system. Okay, and if it is increasing or decreasing based on whatever function it does, it comes under sympathetic or parasympathetic.
Okay, ma'am.
This is the thing. More complex we can go, but not necessary for you. But you understood the classification, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's more than enough then. Okay, so that's it for today. So tomorrow's class we can move ahead with central nervous system.
Okay, ma'am. Tomorrow,
Okay,
ma'am,
any
what
doubt?
time tomorrow?
Yeah, tell me, when will you be free?
Morning.
Morning at what time? Like around 11, sometime is fine. 10,
10,
11?
10 to 11.
Okay, 10 to 11 is fine. Yeah.
Because afternoon
Okay.
I'll have the school work to do. So 10 to
Okay,
11.
no problem. Yeah, no problem. 10 to 11 is fine. I'll meet you tomorrow 10 to 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.